Today is Fiverr Friday. Na 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 na. I I'm trying. I'm trying. What a crazy week. I want to say hello. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. I think that beginning was an epic fail, but you know what? We're going to recover because I've got some really great things to talk to you about today. And an interesting story that I want to tell you. Today's message is how to bridge the divide of incorrect messaging. And I would assume that you're probably like, what is that about? And you know, I'm going to tell you a story, just something that happened to me on Fiverr. So, you know, as we all do, right? We get an order, and I received an order, and you know, I opened it up, and wasn't any directions, you know what I mean? Just, you know, to do this read. So I went ahead and completed the read. It was basically just about a product and some statistics and things of that nature. So I went ahead and finished the voiceover, cleaned it up, you know, and everything, delivered it. And a while later, I got a message back from the client. And they said they liked it, but they wanted something completely different. You know, I said, okay, I understand. And they said they wanted it to be more poetic. And then they gave me some links to some videos. So I was like, okay. So I do like references. I'm a big proponent of that. So I went ahead and looked at these videos. And on the videos, each one, there was two of them. They were beautiful. Music was beautiful. The imagery was beautiful, and they were videos of people talking about the beauty of life, the beauty of adventure, the beauty of nature, and very poetic, very gorgeous. Right? Very philosophical about a journey. You know, we're all on life is a journey. So, but then I go back again and look at the copy, and the copy is about dry stats. It's about selling a product, but yet the client wants it to sound poetic, and the copy itself lends nothing to being poetic. There's no words of inspiration in there. There's no moments that are left to be thought-provoking, right? It's very much so an explainer video without the any sort of extra fluff. So this is a challenge, right? We run into this a lot where we are given information, we're given messages, and we're trying to decipher them with things that are not exactly the way the person who's giving us the message looks like. In this case, the person wants the copy to be something that it's not. So our challenge as voice actors is to somehow get that copy and take the messaging from the client and bridge that divide. Okay? Now, there's a couple things I think that we can do. And the first thing is to use your common sense. What I mean by that is, you know, we are performers, and when you are a performer and you are a director, so make no mistake, even though a client or somebody says, hey, I'd like it to be this, we are self-directing ourselves. Unless we are in a session with a director, we are self-directing ourselves, which means that we are making the decisions based on a blanket set of rules, or in this case, no rules that was given to me, right? And because we're making that decision, we have to then direct ourselves to make the ultimate decisions of how the piece is going to go. In theater or on stage, right, we, you know, it's called, you know, making a personality or acting or scene decision, right? It's making a decision about what you're going to be, or it's called going all in, right? You're going all in on that decision. You're going to be that way, and that's who you are. That's how you're going to be. You're going to make that decision in that moment to cry, to not cry, to laugh, to not laugh, to be intense and not be intense, et cetera, right? You make an acting decision, you go all in on it and leave nothing on the table. So because of that, all right, we have to be able to see what they're doing, what they want, what we actually have, and how we can either A, make that happen with what we're given, or B, figure out how to talk to them about it as well. And I think it goes into the both. So let's dive into some things that you can do, because I'm assuming that this has happened to you as much as it's happened to me, a lot. So the first thing that I think is so important, and one thing I love about voice actors and actors in general, is we are intelligent. And I don't mean to toot our own horns, but we have to be knowledgeable about what words mean. Okay? This is important. You can argue this is important for life, especially right now. But in general, we've got to know what words really mean. Their definitions, and then the feelings that these words bring out of us, or the feelings that are underneath the words. You know me, I'm always the story underneath the story kind of guy. Okay, what story are these words trying to tell? Because the words that the person is using, they are just a vehicle for the expression that they are trying to show. But that doesn't mean that the copy they have is actually the expression that they are trying to show. See, we deal with a lot of stuff, right? Because we're communicating a message from a small business, from a person who might not have all of their ducks in a row, meaning they might not know what their message exactly is. They may not know how to write that down and copy. They might not know how to express it to the fullest, but yet they hire us in order to do that. So the first thing we have to do is we have to be extremely knowledgeable about what these words that we're given actually mean and what they could mean, right? That's so important. The second thing we have to do, right, is we have to be able to communicate effectively with our clients. In the case, because this is Fiverr Friday, we're talking about that platform, whether it's emails or whatever, but we're talking about Fiverr. So, we have a way to message back and forth through the messaging system. But I think a lot of times many of us are worried about saying to the client, hey, I looked over this. I got your directions. You sent some examples. Thank you so much. And, it's great, but I'm looking at the words you sent, and I think what you're looking for, right, with being poetic and that feeling of beauty and calm and a journey, it's difficult with the copy that you have because the words in the copy are more, hard-lined facts, not philosophical, thought-provoking words, okay, with imagery. And, we've got to be able to communicate that. So the second thing is communicating effectively. And you communicate effectively by, again, learning what these words mean, how we use them, learning how to write better yourself. I think it's incredible that, some of the most, like I said, some of the most intelligent people I've ever met are the people who, have dedicated their life in the theater about learning, about studying, understanding periods of time, cultures, great orators, these types of things. You know what I mean? It's important. And I know I'm at this point, I'm not even necessarily talking about the delivery of acting. Of course, that's the end result. But I'm talking about how we actually message and communicate with people. Okay? And hearing what they're saying, even if they're saying something different. Does that make sense? Like if you could say that they're saying, well, I want it to be poetic. But do they want it to be poetic, or do they want it to be moving? Or do they want it to inspire people to purchase their product? Well, that's kind of an easy, maybe no-brainer way to approach it. But how are they trying to inspire it? They want it to be poetic. So if you think of poetic, right, what do we think of? All right. To me, when I think of poetic, I think of just me. I think of beauty and words and thoughts and, different ideas and different ways to see something. All right. So with all of this said, with all of these things that pop up into my mind, the third thing is, and it's a decision we have to make, do we decide then to become the person who helps our client? You know what I mean? Understand this. Do we have time? Are we paid enough? I mean, there's another thing that goes into half of this, right? Is that the pay. This is where I think we do have to make some decisions as well. And I guess that would be, what the next thing is. You have to decide, right? Are you going to try to help under, with this? And what I mean by that, and I don't mean to sound rude like we don't want to help, but I mean, it's more like, if you're paying me $5, am I going to, go into this deep discussion with you about philosophy and the meaning of words for an hour before I even do the voiceover? That doesn't make a lot of business sense whatsoever, right? So because of that, there is some decision making there about what you do and what you don't do. But I think the most vital thing here is the message, is how you relay the information, how you communicate with the client what they want, what you see, and what's actually possible. Now, I've had different things, but I can tell you, if I communicate well, right, and I've done thousands of these, if I communicate well my message, like in this particular story that I just went through, I communicated that. I said, hey, listen, this is great. I love the videos you sent. By the way, there's another little tip. If you are struggling getting what the client exactly wants, ask them to send you a link or two to a video or a voiceover that they are thinking about in their mind. Because usually when you do something and they send it back and they're like, well, this isn't what we're looking for, they have something in their mind, okay, and they don't know how to explain it. So sometimes it's a lot easier for us to see and listen to something because they can't explain it through words that we understand. Sometimes you come across people who can, but very rarely. It's getting harder. It's getting harder. We're using a lot more. It's probably because I think it's actually branding. Slogans have become our world, right? We're used to slogans now. So instead of being able to effectively articulate a message or an idea or a thought, we use a slogan to articulate it. Okay, right? And we know that. We use a slogan. Like we even use, Google it. Well, Google's a company, but we know when you say Google it, we all know you mean search, right? Search the internet. Okay, but we don't say that. We say Google it. So I think these are just some thoughts about things that I know I'm going through. And so anyways, I messaged the person that I was talking about and, I told them, say, listen, the videos are beautiful. They're very, inspirational. And, I did get a poetic feeling from the message and the imagery all combined together. But the hardline stats that you have in the copy and the selling of a product because it's trying to sell something, and there is no story behind it. And that's another thing. Remember, poems tell stories. Okay? They do. They tell a story. Whether it's a story of beauty, whether it's an actual story, whether it's a story of discovery, whether it's, a story of horror, whatever it is, okay, poems tell stories. It is a unique way to tell a story. You could argue that the copy that this person has is a unique way to tell a story too, but when there's not a story there, when there is nothing else to be told, we have to, and then they come to us wanting us to tell the story, we have to be able to articulate that to them in order for them to understand a little bit better about their expectations, about what's actually possible. And it's your job, my job, to be able to do that in a manner in which We don't offend them, right? Because we don't want to, offend the people that are helping us out or by buying from us, right? We don't want to upset them, like to say, because maybe they wrote the copy. And we don't want to piss them off, right? But at the same time, we want to be able to articulate to them how it can be better, or what they are looking for maybe is something else. Maybe what they're looking for is inspirational, but maybe the word usage that they're going for doesn't actually mix, especially with the videos that this person sent me. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's totally different things. One does not match up with the other whatsoever. Okay. But that's the challenge. So to get there again, to go back and recap, you have got to know what words mean. And I know you'd be like, yeah, I know what words mean, but no, I'm really serious. You need to really look at them. Open up. When was the last time you opened up a dictionary and actually looked at a word? At this particular point, we'd go on, Google it. Anyway, Google the word, all right, and look up what these words actually mean. And be knowledgeable. Study. What does being something like this mean? What do other people describe it? How do you articulate it? How do you deliver a message through your voice, but through words as well? Okay, how do you do all of that? Well, you study, you learn from examples, you learn from previous things that people have gone through, people have tried to do over time, right? Over our history. You learn from that way. You learn through watching and listening to videos and to other voiceovers in our context. You learn through acting exercise. You learn through all these things, but don't neglect you being able to articulate and also synthesize. This is an important word, is synthesize, because synthesizing data, or synthesizing, in this case, the message this person was trying to relate, is a big skill to have. Okay, being able to take something over here, something over here, something down here, something over here, multiple things happening at once. Being able to take all of these things, synthesize them together, and to create a singular message from all of these things is vital to being able to grow your business and to get people, all right, agreeing with you. That's what you have, right? Because we want these people to agree with us, because I need this person I'm working with to agree with me that what they're looking for maybe is some different wording. Maybe it's the way I'm going to attempt it for them. But they also need to have confidence in me. Okay? They've got to have confidence in me that I understand what I'm talking about. That's another thing too, confidence in yourself, like not apologizing because you don't know what you're doing. Don't tell a client that you're new and you don't know what you're doing. Okay. There is a time to say, listen, I'm not confident about doing this, so let's not work together. If it's something like, dubbing or something, that's one thing. But I'm saying, confidence, all right, confidence in yourself and what you're talking about breeds trust. It breeds, people's willingness to follow you and listen to you. Okay. Because people want that. So with all this being said, all right, and I kind of went two-tier here, right, with this philosophical nature as well as, you learning about these things. And I don't have like a, read this book or read that book. I read a lot. You guys know I mention books all the time on the show. But I think it's vital to not be pushed over by simple words without taking a look at them, taking a look at what they mean or what the person is trying to say, and communicating that information to the person, synthesizing that data and saying, hey, listen, I like what you're trying to do. I've looked at the copy, the way you've described it, and I don't know if the copy lends itself to that. My thoughts are we could go down this direction. Maybe we can do an inspiring type tone that, we could do. Maybe it's a little more excited and maybe it's a little more upbeat, but, maybe we can go a little bit slower, but it's not, a movie trailer delivery where it's this deep and foreboding feeling. Maybe we're not trying to do that. Okay. Don't ever stop learning. Okay, don't ever stop learning yourself. It's so important to be able to effectively articulate your message to someone else. Okay, totally deep and wild. I've been going through these things a lot. And I've also been getting a lot of interesting with voiceovers. I don't know if you've noticed or this is happening to you, but I'm definitely getting more and more voiceovers that I'm doing actually within the last few days, voiceovers having to do with all the things that are going on in our country right now. And, that's been something that I've been watching carefully, things coming in and people doing op-eds, cartoons, like political cartoon type things and stuff, and different messages, businesses popping up. Like I've actually been doing businesses. I did a commercial for a business that somebody is starting in order to stay connected with protests around the world and being able to travel using green travel sources to go to different protests that they'd like to. Like I did a commercial for something like that. I mean, that's clever business. It's interesting how we're on the forefront of communication, and it's interesting how that happens. And it's something that we have to navigate. And that's why being able to effectively communicate is so important for us and our success. All right, I've done a lot of talking. I know that this is Fiverr Friday, so we have a big question and answer session. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in over here. If you've got some questions, thoughts, comments, this is the time to post them. Even if it has anything to do with what I was talking about or not, please feel free to ask, and I go ahead and answer them for you. Let's see. Let's start up at the top. We got Eric. What's up, my man? Tom Johnson. Good to have you. Voiceover Angela. Hello, Angela. We've got Nick Denton. What's up, my man? We got Jeremy. Hey, buddy. We've got Big Jim. What's up? What's up? Let's see. We got just saying, yes, Big Jim talking to other people. Okay. Let's see. Bacana. I hope that's how you say it. Bacana. Finally caught one live. That's awesome to have you. Facebook user. Sorry, just says user says you have to find the arc. Right. And that's a challenge, right? Especially if you are working with someone who wrote the copy themselves and may not have, been able to effectively create something that gives you even a beginning, middle, and an end, right? Or knows how to do that, right? This is some of the challenging. But we have to be able to see that, be able to, just like you said, find art. We have to be able to communicate what does that mean to someone, or at least, if nothing else, understand what they're trying to do, so that when they're like, well, that's just not working, we can say, listen, right? I think what we're trying to accomplish here, this copy probably might be holding us back a little bit. Do you know what I mean? You have the confidence to say that in a manner that is professional, all right, and kind and courteous. But we need to be able to say that sometimes, I think, and I think it will make your job easier. Let's see. Near says, hey, what's up, Anthony? Hey, buddy. Let's see. Don, you can't turn stats into a sonnet. That's the truth. I think some people can, I've definitely read... and I've said some things, where like if you have a way of a cadence, you can definitely make something sound a certain way. Like we would say, well, if such and such read something, I'd listen to it. I don't care what they read. I don't care what they read. Like, have you ever seen those interviews with like Morgan Freeman or Sam Elliott, where they have them read these funny, crazy things, you know what I mean, in their style, and it's kind of funny to listen to. And they do, I mean, it still sounds cool, just like them. But again, the things that they had them read is never stats, right? It's never stats, just like you mentioned. I mean, that's hard. And a lot of times, I think, we're dealing with people who are trying to sell stats and not trying to sell why, right? They're not trying to sell the story. It's really nice when you work with companies that are trying to sell the story, because then we can really get into that story. But stats, they're important, right? I guess, and depending on what it is as a commercial standpoint, right? But anyways, e-learning, of course, is vital to these things. But being able to sell it in a poetic nature, that's a challenge. It is a big challenge. Let's see. Perception is reality. But what is my reality may not be someone else's reality. I always verify my interpretation of the copy if I can't go a couple different ways. I love that. And there's many ways to do this, like with communication, when we're talking about communication, right? Like, we're not talking to these people, we're messaging them. But, starting off something by, I read everything that you send. What I'm hearing is after reading the copy, you're looking for this. I'm interpreting it to mean something like this because maybe the copy, as I'm looking for it, I'm trying to use, and then that's when you possibly could ask for references too, because references evoke feelings, and people have a really hard time expressing their feelings. We all know that. We all do sometimes, right? We have a hard time expressing our feelings. So a lot of times when we're expressing a feeling and emotion, it comes out in a completely different way. And then if we can logically step back and look at it, we can say, well, this is actually the way I'm really trying to say it, or this is the message I want to relay. So absolutely. Let's see. Neil Williams, happy Friday. What's up? Don says, I think it's also has to do with people becoming accustomed to digital communication. That is absolutely, Don. That is absolutely true. Text and emails are short and to the point, and you can't pick up on someone's tone, inflection, and body language. Don, I love that. That is a fantastic point, and I think we know, and Don, that's great. We know that communication, right? When you communicate with somebody, the old adage was, right, is that you communicate, what is it, about 70% or something of communication is nonverbal, meaning exactly what Don said through, your eyes, your facial expressions, your body language, et cetera, et cetera. But we're not doing that hardly anymore, especially with what we do. Okay, we're doing that all through text. So basically what we're doing is we are eliminating 60 to 70% of understanding and trying to get all of that from text. Does that make you feel like you and I are pretty darn amazing? You are amazing to be able to do that, right? But I think that becoming smarter are smarter in the context of learning more about how to communicate effectively, quickly, using words, using the medium of today, and how we are communicating to be able to relay messages without seeing all of that stuff. That's important. Okay, that's why videos are so powerful, because we can't see people live anymore. So what do? Videos at least give us an auditory sense of music, and the music gives us a feeling. Imagery gives us a feeling, okay? And then the words are there to bring it home. And they all need to match up. But without those things, the absence of those things, it's hard. That was really good, Don. Great point, man. Let's see. Nick says, really good points, Anthony. Do you have any updates about gig stats or that paid advertising yet? So Nick, I do have a little information about it. I do not have any updates about when they are going to actually be available. I mean, our stats come back. I don't know when, and I keep hearing that it's going to be soon, but I don't know what that means. The second part is for the paid advertising, I think they picked a group of people. They're not opening it up to anybody else right now. They picked a group of people, and I suppose they're still beta testing it however long, that I can't get any more information than what I'm getting. But what I've gotten from other people who are in the program is that everybody who got chosen for the program got a success coach, and it is they have access to one, and it was a part of just like I said, a beta test that Fiverr is running to see how it works. So I don't know the length, though. So I don't know much more, but a little bit more information is coming out here or there from people I know in the program, because, Fiverr doesn't relay any of that information to us. So Greg says, I'm so late. All right, start over. Oh, I don't know if I can start over, Greg. But fortunately, it's recorded. Let's see. Sherry. Hi, Anthony, everybody. Hello, Sherry. Martin. Hi, Anthony. If I want to withdraw my money with PayPal by example, may I withdraw just a certain amount and not all the amount available on my Fiverr account? So no, Martin. At this point, no. If it has cleared in your account, meaning that it is available to withdraw, Fiverr does not let you withdraw a little chunk. You have to you withdraw all of it. Now, I've not explored So I'm going to go on like I'm 95% sure. But I've not explored it completely, but I've never known anybody, I've never seen that, and the lots of times that I've withdrawn money from Fiverr, I've not ever seen that ability. Now, Fiverr has done something new. Now they allow you to go into now you have to do this on the computer, but you can go into your income, or I think it's the revenue section or the income section, and you can actually choose to get your money earlier than 2 weeks. Okay, you can actually click on, one thing that's supposed to be clearing and get your money. The rub is Fiverr charges you an extra little fee to get your money early. However, this might be advantageous for you if you are in a situation where you need that money now. Okay, makes me sound need cash now. J.G. Wentworth, anybody? Hopefully. Got that person with the horns on their head. All right. Anyways, I digress. You can get your money earlier now from Fiverr by doing that, but Fiverr still only allows you to withdraw once within a 24-hour period. Okay, but that was a big change that they never had before. That's right, 877 cash now. All right, let's see. Facebook user. I'm not sure who that is. Good to see you, Anthony. Question. Setting up a new gig and my video is still under review after 3 days. As far as I can see, it meets criteria, 110 seconds. Okay. 4 megabytes. Okay. Anything else I need to check? Contacted help, but no response. Okay, so according to the rules there, right, they say, I believe it should be 24 or 48 hours, I think, that it takes. Sometimes it can take longer, but the likelihood, now there's two things that's possibly going on. One, they have skipped over it, and I've seen this happen many times, and contacting them is a part of it. Okay, so you've done that. So, it might be, that's something to do. But I want to point out something to you. Fiverr did some changes recently where, and we've verified this in the Fiverr Elite group that we have, is that you no longer have to have a video in order for people to be able to click on or to be able to listen to your demo on the search page. So it used to be that you had to have a video in order for people, while they're searching through all the voice actors, right? You can see the little play button on everybody's picture. And if they didn't have a video, there was no play button there. But Fiverr changed that discreetly, excuse me. They changed it discreetly without telling us. So, if now you can, but now you don't need that. A thumbnail and your MP3 will actually play that. All right, on the page, and it's not as important anymore to have a video, especially if your video is just your face. Like my videos are just, now that's not true. The newest gig I put up, I had a lot of video footage from real jobs that I had done. You know what I mean? I have like 30, 40, 50 different videos now just over the years of clients sending me videos back of work I've done. So I was able to splice, cut and splice the video together. But most of my gigs still are just my face, you know what I mean? And it's just the music, or it's just the a demo in the background. So in this particular case, you don't need to worry so much about the video. Just make sure you've got your thumbnail and make sure you've got your MP3 file uploaded, and it will actually be able to play on the front end. But I will say, from a video standpoint, now, again, they recommend 40% more engagement with the video. And that's if your video is actually, like a video. Where you actually have footage or something's happening. But again, I've dove into this. You've got to make sure that if you're going to make the video yourself, that it's like really good. Because remember when I mentioned before, we watch the imagery, we listen to the music, then we listen to the words. I mean, it's true. The words are pretty much, they are secondary. They're icing on the cake. But, when we narrate a video, we are not the spotlight. The video is. So if your video, for lack of a better word, sucks, people are going to associate your voiceover with that sucky video. Does that make sense? So that's why for me, until I've received all this video from other people that I don't make the videos, these companies make the videos that we do the voiceovers for. Since I've received so many of them, the videos I have look really good, right? They look really professionally done. So it makes me in turn look good. Yes, my voiceovers are great, but most of our voiceovers are great. It's not that. It's again, the perception of, is it professional? All right. But the visualization or the visual aspect of it is important, to people purchasing. So that's my thoughts about that. Make sure you've got an MP3. Make sure you've got a thumbnail. Keep trying to contact them if they don't get back to you. And usually in this particular situation, they've overlooked it. There was a malfunction. They're slowing down videos because they have some issue going on, something. All right. But usually it shouldn't take 3 days. Shouldn't take that much. Although I've seen it take a lot longer for some people. So I'm just saying usually it doesn't, but I've seen it take up to a couple weeks sometimes. But you don't want to wait a couple weeks. Message them like you did. All right, let's see. Do I need to set up a different PayPal account to use Fiverr than my other personal one? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I use a business. I have my PayPal and my business account. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I do there. I don't have a different PayPal account. It's just the business account attached to my personal PayPal account. Let's see, 877 cash now. Yeah. Neil Williams, what's up, Neil? Your video image has just blurred a bit. Did you change something? My video image here? I don't think so. Are you talking about on here? Video image blurred a bit? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. I'm sorry, Neil. I don't think so. I'm looking at everything. Nothing looks like it blurred. I guess I'll have to play back when I look and see on YouTube what happened. Thank you. This is Chris. Hey, Chris from the Elite Group, just asking about my video. Cool. Don says, do you think a video distracts from the VO performance and would be better just a thumbnail image? So, Don, that's exactly what yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. The answer to that question is it can be, or it can help you, or it can hurt you. Okay, it can help you if it is super professional, looks really well done, the music is really well done, the mixing is really well done. If it's professionally done and looking, it can absolutely help you. Okay, if it is not, it can absolutely hurt you, in which case it is way better for you to, I think, just have an image of yourself, your headshot, with the demo underneath. Because, see, the headshot allows them to connect to you. Okay, all right, at least have some of that nonverbal communication, all right, that we were talking about, but that still gets to listen to their demo. And more importantly, if your videos aren't on point, and this is what I mean, like if you're doing videos in your demos that have nothing to do with what people are trying to hire you for, you know what I mean? We're asking the client to do a lot of extra things. So that's why there's a lot of things going on here. Where I was talking about different messages everywhere. Now you might be like, good Lord, this is like exhausting. How do you manage figuring this out? Well, that all boils down to, again, what message are you as your business is trying to put out? What work do you do on a general basis? What's your money voice, as you've heard me say? You know what I mean? My money voice is clear. I do low, deep, inspiring. That is the majority of the work that people hire me for, which is exactly how the first sample on my demo is set up, with my Ford slot, then my Rolex slot. And then if you look at all of my videos, the majority of them have that, everyman, inspiring, slow type of poetic voice, which is probably why that person hired me, but their copy was just not, their copy doesn't match up with what they want. So I hope that helps, Don, but that's a good question too. Let's see, replying Facebook, you're welcome. Neil, yes, but it's better again. That's good. Let's see. Chris says, yes, you are a bit out of focus. Weird. I don't know. Hopefully it's better. Let's see. I do think it's important to separate our voiceover business from our personal finance. Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if you're using, here's the thing, even with your personal PayPal account, there should be, sections that says for business use or not. Now, the reason why I use a business PayPal, right, is because it's for business, but also it allows you to have the invoice. You can send invoices. Okay, you can track things differently through the business. So I recommend you sign up for the business PayPal. I believe that's free. I don't think that costs anything extra. Now, if you sign up to take payments through credit card, that will cost extra. Like payments through credit card manually, that will cost extra. Like how they have the strip that goes onto your phone and things. But to sign up for the business one, that doesn't cost any extra, and that is definitely worth it. And Eric is absolutely right. We have to separate our business from our personalized, especially for tax purposes, et cetera, because you don't want to be caught red-handed when you're spending money through your personal account and then saying it's business expenses, and you can't back that up when the IRS comes knocking. It's important to separate your things as well for tracking and knowing exactly what business is going for. So anyways, yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. Frank says, happy Friday. Thank you, Frank. Happy Friday, my friend. And Don says, thank you. Great content as usual. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. As always, it is an honor to come to you guys and to have you watch and listen. I want to mention again, we have our Fiverr Elite meeting tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we meet every Saturday. It's an amazing group. We have more and more people. I think we have over 60 members now. We get together over a Zoom meeting, and our one singular goal is to help people grow their Fiverr businesses, make more money on Fiverr. And we do that through reviewing people's gigs live on there, through lessons on how to better fill out your gig, how to manage things. We use analytics and stats, even though the stats haven't been around for a while. We still use analytics, and we have multiple top-rated sellers in that group. So I would love to have you in that group. If you're interested, there'll be a link below. You can sign up there, or you can head over to vosjourney.com and sign up there. Well, thank you guys so much. Sorry, the city troll morning late again. It's all right. This will be recorded, of course, and this will be on there. And I thank you guys. Have a safe weekend. Okay, have a safe weekend. I will talk to you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye.